Sport requires effort, sweat and strong will, and Macron knows it. A leading global company with Italian DNA in the production and sale of sportswear, when Macron first entered the sports world in 1971, it was a small yet strong player. Since then, Macron has been growing at a very fast pace, supporting teams, sportsmen and women at all levels, working hard to supply them with the best technical products to help improve their performances. With over 4 million pieces of stock available in our Italian warehouse and an extensive range of on-field, off-field and free-time products, we cater for everyone from amateurs to professional sporting organisations, even referees. Ranked third most prominent football brand by the UEFA, Macron keeps expanding its presence worldwide, including Australia, where we are currently proud partners of Perth Glory, Macarthur FC, Port Adelaide and Parramatta Eels, and more to come. Work hard, play harder, Macron, your next teamwear partner. For more information, visit our website at www.macronvic.com.au or call us on 1800 Macron.
Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Eyes, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Eyes, Plumpton.
Yes, it is, Tonci. Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's well. It is. It's the last one of. It's been a long year, Tonci, with everything that's gone on, and we've decided that it's time we had a bit of a break. So tonight we've got a fantastic lineup, and unfortunately, it's our last show for the year.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tonci. And there's a few comments coming in saying they might not be able to hear us. So if you can hear me now, just pop a little tick, thumbs up in the comments so we know that you can hear us. But yeah, doing well, mate. Actually, oops, I'm getting my sound back in reverberation. There. Sounds like we're. Yep.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, good.
Yeah, it's a great one to finish off. A lot of guests, so we're going to keep things pretty smart with the timers tonight. No going off piste, and because we've got a lot to get in a short space of time. But some fantastic guests. First up, we've got the current or the new role for ex A-League legend in coaching. And now the FCA ambassador, Ernie Merrick's going to be joining us, and that'll be an interesting chat with Ernie. We'll then jump over to the CEO of Western United, Chris PEHLIVANIS. He's going to jump on and have a chat with us about how things are up at Western United. Just after Chris, we've got Western United young gun. NOAH BOTIC is going to join us, and he's going to have a chat about his time at the club and his, I suppose, expectations for the year. Just after that, if that's not enough for you, we've got, I suppose, very friend of the show now, ex-Foxtel and new Paramount Plus and Channel 10 commentator Simon Hill's going to be joining us. I'm sure he's got a lot to say about the new franchise and obviously his beloved Manchester City beating Manchester United last night. I'm sure he'll have a few comments to say on that. And then right at the end, we'll finish off with the guy that really supported us from day one. And if it wasn't for Mark, and I know he's on you quite a bit, but if it wasn't for Mark and the George Cross Football Club, we wouldn't be able to do this show. So we're going to leave the last word, as always, to El Presidente himself, Mark Sultana. He's going to be on about 8:15 this evening.
Oh, it's just too many to name. We've had some great guests from all over the world talking about all kinds of things. We have Tom Byers on recently talking about football starts at home with the young kids. That was one of my highlights. I thought that was pretty good. As I've got a young niece now over in America, and she's already trying to be taught bicycle kicks by my brother while she's lying down on the mat on the floor there. So yeah, that was a good one, I thought. What about you guys?
Yeah, much the same. I think there's just been we've had some real good guests on this show. I think it's really hard to pick anybody, because everybody that we've got on, we've sort of made a point of having them on for various reasons, whether it was Damien Rodin the other week talking about, strength and conditioning in his role, to having, Western United's, Carl Robinson on and Western United's coach, and there's just been so many, and it just shows that we've come a long way in the 3 years that we can get the likes of the guests like Ernie and Simon coming on the show and having a chat with us.
Yeah, all right. So let's start with the news desk for Sunday, the 7th of November, 2021.
Oh, sound's gone. No. Yeah, nobody can hear you, Tonci. So. Steve, can you hear anything at all? No, you can hear, but yeah. Sorry about this, ladies and gents. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. Obviously, Tonci has done something in the background there tonight, and
you can hear, but yeah.
No.
Sorry about this, ladies and gents. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. Obviously,
Flash or Gremlin
tonight, and you can hear, but yeah.
No.
Sorry about this, ladies and gents. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. Obviously, Flash or Gremlin tonight, and you can hear, but Yeah, sorry about this, ladies and gents. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. Obviously,
This is going well.
There we go. You're back, Steve.
All right.
You're back, but all I can hear is the same comment.
I'm just hearing reverb in my ears. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully we're back on now. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Look, we'll push on. We'll go through those results last night from the EPL. Southampton, second win in a row for them, 1-0 over Aston Villa. Chelsea held by Burnley. So a surprise result there. Chelsea have been the form team of late. Crystal Palace continued some good form there. 2-0 over Wolves. The big Manchester derby, Man City getting the win at Old Trafford, 2-0. Norwich, 2-1 winners over Brentford, but their coach, Daniel Farke, was sacked after the game for his efforts. So
that's mad.
Not ideal.
He's waited 21 league games for a win. They get a win and they sack your coach. It's just bonkers. Football's mad.
It's gone mad, isn't it? He's inside celebrating a win against a good Brentford side too, and he's given the marching orders. Yeah. So there you go.
Two promotions in his 4.5 years. One win in 21 in the big league and gets sacked. Fancy that.
Outrageous. There you go. Brighton, who'd been pretty good lately, they were held by Newcastle. Brighton, who had a goalkeeper sent off, of course, there. So 1-1 there between Brighton and Newcastle. And I think that's all the matches overnight. Tonight, coming up, 1 a.m. games, Everton, Tottenham. Obviously, a lot of excitement around Tottenham, how they'll go. Will there be a new manager bounce there or not? Leeds United, Leicester City, Arsenal, Watford, and a little later, one of the games that are around West Ham and Liverpool at 3:30 a.m. Set your alarm if you're a Hammers fan or a Liverpool fan, I guess there.
Okay, guys, can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can.
There we go. Great stuff. Okay, there's the ladder, folks. So there you go. Liverpool and West Ham have got a game in hand. And Chelsea sitting pretty at the top of the competition standings. And looking at the other end, Steve, the bottom 10 of the EPL.
Yep, so we've got Burnley and Newcastle and Norwich still sitting in the relegation zone there. Leeds and Watford with games tonight, as well as Everton and Leicester, all hoping to move up the table with wins tonight.
Yeah, the one shock in there, I suppose, and I don't know whether you watched the Southampton and Villa game, but Villa were awful. I don't know what's gone on there, but since Grealish has gone, they've certainly gone right down, and their football against Southampton was horrendous. They're in trouble, Villa, I think.
Yeah. Southampton being good at picking up some clean sheets as well, so they're doing all right at the moment with the resources that they have. Now, will we move on to some Serie A, Tonci?
Yes, we will. There's the results there from overnight games played, Steve.
Yeah, so Santino Mamone in the comments, big smile on his face tonight because Juventus got the 1-0 home win over a 10-man Fiorentina side. An exciting one at Empoli, 2-2 with Genoa. Spezia got a gritty 1-0 win over Torino. Atalanta backing up their Champions League result against Man U during the week. They got a 2-1 win away at Calgary. Kicking off tonight, we've got a whole raft of games. The early one for you who want to tune in on KO or B in Venezia, Roma at 10:30. And at 1 a.m., Sampdoria, Bologna, Udinese, Sassuolo, Napoli, Verona, Lazio, Salernitana, and the big one, the Milan derby at 6:45 a.m. One to get up for, I think. The Milan and Inter should be a good one.
Craig, take a look at the ladder, the top half of the Serie A ladder.
Yeah, Napoli and obviously Milan, who our good friend Dan Pagnocolo was at the game in midweek. He went to watch Milan. I think they played Porto, did they? In midweek,
I think so.
He was at that game. It's the normal top of the table there in Serie A. Napoli doing very well up there with 31 points, but it's still very tight at the top there from 3 down to 8, 9. It's still very close, but there's a big gap opening up between Milan and Inter, isn't there? 7 points. That's a big gap after 11 games.
Yep, 2-horse race at the moment there, so we'll see how that plays out. Juve still a little bit of work to do to try and move up the table.
And at the foot of at the other end of the table, I guess, it's very congested. We've got 3 teams on 9 points there. Genoa in 16th, Sampdoria 17th. And then Venezia in 18th spot, the Sampdoria, Venezia, and Salernitana have got a game in hand. And then Cagliari down the bottom at 6 points. Look, a good series of wins or good series of games for any of those teams could quite easily see them, catapult almost into the mid part of the competition standing. So look, even after round 11 completed rounds and almost 12 completed rounds, it's still, anyone's game at that wrong end of the table. But I guess we're more interested in what's happening up the other end of the table. And definitely Napoli and Milan at the moment looking really, really good, going neck for neck up at the top of the competition standings in Serie A. Let's move along to the rest of the news. Steve, what else is happening? More locally, I suppose.
Yeah, do you want to go to the Socceroos squad who are preparing for a match on home soil against Saudi Arabia? And it's for the first time since they played Nepal in Canberra in 2019. So huge wait for this one, and tickets are selling like hotcakes. I think certain sections of the ground there at Western Sydney have already sold out. So, and I think it's going to be about capacity of 30,000 there too, roaring for the Socceroos. We know Saudi Arabia's got a couple of injury concerns to key players, and hopefully that home ground advantage, and given that a lot of these Asian Confederation teams don't travel that well to Australia, despite them being top of the group, we should go in favourites. We do have a couple of concerns. No Aaron Moy, Adam Taggart or Tommy Rogic in this one. The interesting inclusion that everyone's talking about is midfielder Gianni Stensnes, plays for Norwegian club Viking, former CC Mariner. Once scored a cracking goal down here at GMHBA Stadium too against Western United. He's been added to the Socceroos for the first time after putting his allegiances to Australia over New Zealand, who he represented as a youth player. So looking forward to seeing how Gianni Stensnes goes if he gets a call up there. And obviously we've got a couple of A-League based players coming into the squad as well, a trio from Melbourne City. So yeah, looking forward to seeing if the A-League guys get a run, how they handle the action. Obviously they'll be lacking a bit of competitive minutes, but they've certainly been playing an extensive amount of practice games lately.
And there's the ladder there. There are the standings. So putting that into perspective, Thursday's game is going to be a very, very important one for Australia on the back of that loss to Japan in Japan in their last game. So Saudi Arabia, 4 games, 4 wins, 12 points. Australia, 3 wins, 1 loss. Goal difference is the same. So even a minimal result will see Australia jump back up into top spot. But yeah, crucial game. In fact, crucial 2 games for the Socceroos. I know, Craig, there's still another, 6 games to go. So it's still early days yet. But yeah, they can't afford to sort of repeat the result of the game against Japan, can they?
No, they're going to be. They might be in a bit of trouble if they do. I think being on home ground, home soil for the first time in a long time, with a big crowd behind them in Sydney, I think will spur these guys on, and hopefully they'll come home with the much needed 3 points.
That's it. And a bit of a logistical challenge too, because obviously playing China just a few days later on Tuesday the 16th, that match has been shifted to the UAE to be played in Sharjah due to COVID issues in China. So I guess we can only get some advantage out of that, but it will be a challenge with so many time zones in such a short amount of time. But I'm sure that the conditioning staff will prepare Australia's players as good as anyone else can. So fingers crossed we can maybe get 6 points from the 2 games.
Yeah. Steve, moving along now to the FFA Cup. There was a game played overnight, but there's a huge amount of games being played over the next over the next 7 days. But let's start off with last night's result.
Yeah, last night out at Mount Druitt, out in Western Sydney there, Mount Druitt Town Rangers, they put in a good performance for large parts of this game, but were unable to convert any of their chances, of which a few were almost open nets from within 6 yards out. But Luke Wilkshire's Wollongong Wolves side, they got the job done there. You can see them there wearing their splendid looking Indigenous jersey that they wore for this one. 3-0 winners. They go through to the next round. And this Wednesday night, we've got our first competitive match of football in Victoria since the 1st of August, as Hume City host Port Melbourne in their round of 32 match out at ABD Stadium. On the same night, up in northern New South Wales, Broadmeadow Magic against Western Sydney Wanderers. And the big one coming up Friday, South Melbourne hosting Melbourne City. Obviously, Melbourne City will be without their Socceroos players for that one, but that will still be a very exciting encounter at Lakeside, as we've got the the A-League champions against the former Oceania Club of the Year. So bragging rights at stake there. This Saturday, Blacktown City and Central Coast Mariners, along with Hamilton, Olympic and Macarthur. So another NPL versus A-League fixture there. We've also got the Tigers versus Apia Leichhardt Tigers. So a Tiger derby coming up on the 24th, as well as Sydney Olympic versus Sydney FC. Those playoff matches between Western United and Newcastle Jets, along with Perth Glory and Melbourne Victory, have now been fixtured. So this Saturday night at GMHBA Stadium, it's Western United and Newcastle Jets. And finally, due to a lot of border issues, we've got that Perth Glory and Victory game. It's going to be on the 24th of November. They're going to meet in the middle and play in Adelaide. So heaps of games coming up there.
Well, we'll be able to speak to one of our guests, Chris PEHLIVANIS and NOAH BOTIC from Western United about Saturday night's game at GMHBA Stadium. And according to our man Santino, who does work at GMHBA Stadium, works in the logisticals department there, I believe, he tells us in the comments section that there was actually a friendly last night under lights. Melbourne Victory took on Craig, your old club, North Geelong Warriors. Santino saying 10-0 was the result, which I suppose is no surprise because North Geelong haven't played for about 6 months now or whatever. A lot of FFA Cup action happening over the next 6-7 days. That Friday night one is going to be a good one, won't it? South Melbourne versus Melbourne City at Lakeside Stadium.
Yeah, it should be great. And if that's the end of the FA Cup, just quickly as well, before we move into our first guest, the Matildas 2 friendlies against the United States, the first time the US women's national team's been out to Australian soil since their silver medal in the Sydney 2000 Olympics. Those matches, unfortunately for us Victorians down here, no bias at all, they're both in New South Wales, one kicking off at Stadium Australia, so looking to break the all-time female football crowd attendance at that game if they can. That's on the 27th of November on the Saturday, and then on the Tuesday the 30th they're off to Newcastle to play at McDonald Jones Stadium. Those matches are live and free on Channel 10 if you can't get up there, but obviously with the borders open now we can travel up if we want to go and watch our national teams, and the Federation has told us that they will look to share around the games in the coming months as they are scheduled next year, so hopefully we can get some Socceroos Matildas here in Melbourne, and we certainly deserve that, I feel.
And if you're not able to travel interstate and watch that game, well, you'll be able to watch it on Channel 10 and on Paramount Plus. And the main commentator from that network will be joining us a little later on, Simon Hill. We're looking forward to that. But we're going to take a break, folks. When we return, it's time for our first guest. And before we do that, Craig, you have been nominated the official timekeeper. And I'm told you're going to be very brutal. That if,
I am going to cut you off tonight, Tonci. If you talk and you go on to, I'm just going to cut you off, mate. So most of the listeners who commentate know that Tonci does like to rabbit, but there won't be any rabbit tonight. It'll be
you're becoming a pest. Rabbit, 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 rabbit.
Something straight out of Craig Fowler's Spotify playlist number one.
Move on.
I've been put on notice. Okay, folks, we're going to take a quick break. Here's some word from our sponsors, and when we return, it will be the newly appointed FCA ambassador and former A-League and NSL coaching legend Ernie MERRICK. He'll be joining us. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back.
Looking for a venue for your next event? Our function room at George's on Vista is the perfect place for your next special celebration. That special birthday or anniversary, a baptism, communion or confirmation? Whatever the celebration, we can provide a fun and enjoyable atmosphere with great food. Why not hold your next corporate event in our function room? We can seat up to 100 people and can provide you with a professional environment. Whether you're looking to hold a stand-up or sit-down event, we can cater to your needs. We have meal plans and platters for you to choose from. For more information, send an email to info@georgesonvista.com.au. There's no better place out west to hold your next function than at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. Absolute pleasure to have your company. It is episode 80 of the Football Out West show, and it's time for our first guest, Craig. Did you want to introduce our next guest, please?
Mic on. Yeah, very pleased to welcome Premiership, Championship winning A-League men's coach and now the Football Coaches of Australia ambassador, the legend that is Ernie Merrick. Good evening, Ernie. How are you?
I'm good, lads. How are you lot?
Very
Very
good. Thanks
well.
for joining us this evening. I know you've got a family barbecue or some friends over for a barbecue, so really, really appreciate you giving up 10 minutes of your time to come on and have a chat with us.
No problems, except I think I've broken the Australian rules. I'm drinking red wine rather than beer at a barbecue. I believe that's a no-no.
But that's healthy, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
They
Keeps me
say
going.
one glass of red wine a day. One glass, yes.
That's right. Keep the doctor away.
Ernie, we had Gary Cole, the chairman or the executive of the Football Coaches Australia, on our show just the other week. A lot of exciting things happening there, obviously with the FCA, and your recent appointment, which was made public during the week, is one of those. Obviously, ambassador. What does that role involve as an ambassador for the Football Coaches Australia?
Well, it's great to see that a number of people got together and provided some support and helped provide support for coaches throughout Australia, community and professional coaches. So Phil Moss is the chairman, Glenn Worry, the CEO, Gary Cole's on the board. And we're trying to assist coaches in a range of areas. Advocacy is being one, but my main area, of course, is coach development, professional development. And at the moment, we're running some webinars to assist the development of coaches.
Very good. Now, just another question for you, Ernie, maybe from left field. I'm not sure if you've caught up with the Ted Lasso TV series at all, but certainly, not serious stuff, not directly football related, and certainly drama and comedy. But is there any lessons that could be taken out of that for coaches in Australia?
I think I wrote a little article on LinkedIn about that. I get told to watch it by several people, and I said, no, it's all, I can't stand that American stuff. And it said, no, it's British. And sure, the main actor is an American and he's a bit cheesy, but I really enjoyed the whole 2 series of it, watched every bit of it. And there's definitely a message there, and it's about relationships with players, even Nate in the show, who could be a bit difficult to deal with. But I just thought that coaching is really about dealing with people more than coaching skills, and it's about supporting them, empathizing with them, seeing things from their point of view, and giving more praise than criticism. Because when I first started, which was quite a few years ago, I thought it was all about gaining respect through fear and shouting at people, and I did that for about 10 years, and then I mellowed somewhat. I think Gary Cole helped me mellow at the second year in particular at Melbourne Victory. But there's definitely a message there, and it's about relating to people and doing the right thing.
And is that one of the biggest challenges now for a coach? Is that communication side of it? Is that becoming more and more important in the game nowadays? Because if you look at this, for instance, we look at Manchester United and the number of stars that they have in that team, and the egos and everybody's criticising Ole for what he's doing there. But how important is that communication side now with players compared to what it was going back 10, 15 years ago?
I think it's critical, Craig, and you would probably have some stories about British football and some of the behaviour of managers and some of the things they got up to. I think things have changed. There's no doubt that the management of people is almost more important than the technical, tactical aspect of the game. But the coach has to stamp his style of play, whether it be a very attacking style of football or a defensive style or something in between. And strategy, he lays down the law there. But with so many coaches, even Klopp, he's the first person to appoint a coach to take care of throw-ins. Can you imagine the money and the budget he's got? But you delegate the responsibility to a lot of those roles and passing on the skills, the technique, working on the strikers, defenders, midfielders, goalkeepers, etc. But the bottom line is the coach has got to have a terrific relationship with all the players and all the staff, and that's probably the biggest part of the job. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in that job, I mean, how many have been sacked? I'd love to be sacked from Manchester United and walk away with 20 million.
On a 4-year contract, yeah.
But I hope they persist with him. A lot of people don't realise that Alec Ferguson, Sir Alec, he was 7 years before he won a premiership, and he spent a lot of money, but they persisted with him. And Bobby Charlton had a lot to do with that. And so after 7 years, they were just so successful from then on. But it took 7 years, similar to many other codes like Bulmer Thompson in AFL football in Geelong and Damien Hardwick at Richmond. You need time to embed the strategy. You need time to get the culture right, the behaviours right, and the mental attitude is appropriate to win games on a consistent basis.
Now, Ernie, I've been told that I got to keep us succinct tonight, or else I'm going to be cut off by the timekeeper, Craig. So I'll try and keep this very quick. One of our major sponsors is Caroline Springs George Cross. Now, you had a very a memorable time at George Cross back then when it was Sunshine George Cross. And one of the young players that you introduced was none other than Kevin Muscat at the ripe old age of 16 years of age. The players back then, like Muskie and what you're not, and the young players today, is there a difference in their approach to the game, their mental hardness, toughness? You've seen a lot. Are the similarities the same, or are the differences significant?
I think they're the same. If anything, there was a bit more persistence and resilience early on because there weren't many opportunities and the clubs were all part-time. It's interesting how I finished up with Kevin in the team. I went to Kit Greeken and Ian Greener, who were assistant coaches, and I said, Kit, you've got the reserve team. I really need a defender. I need someone to help all these young boys because we'd signed such a young team, a lot of them straight out of the AIS, like Lawrence Kintner, Frank Talia, both Foster brothers, Craig and Paul Foster. I mean, when you think about that team, Ernie Tapai, Gary Hasler, David Clarkson, it was a great young team, but very difficult to keep them all at the club. So we were a defender short. So Kit explained that he had this really tough defender and he would send him over to me. So I'm waiting outside the change rooms and I'm imagining this huge, big, gigantic character wandering down. And I thought, if it's the right character, we're going to do well because we're close to being relegated. Anyway, as I'm looking down the tunnel for this player to come out, there's someone sort of pulling at my shirt. And I go, say, hang on a minute, son, I'm just waiting on someone. He says, it's me. I said, who? He says, I'm Kevin Muscat. I'm the one you're waiting on. Now, he was built like a splinter. He was built like a bicycle frame, and he was about 5'4" tall, and he was 16 years old. And I goes, oh, Kit, you've made a big mistake here. Ian Greener, we've got to fix this. There must be someone with a bit of height and weight and strength and knows how to tackle. What a mistake I made. So he made his debut and he did really well, and he was a major part of keeping us up that year, and then he went off to the AIS. But there was another player that should be mentioned, a fullback that I signed from South Melbourne, and he was just a fantastic fullback, but he was too quick and loved to score goals at training. So I took him from being a fullback and I said, look, you're too good, just get up front and see if you can score some goals. He became the highest goal scorer in the whole of the NSL. His name was Damien Morey. So what a team. Wow. Imagine keeping them together for 7 years. It would have been a fantastic team. I thoroughly enjoyed my time at George Cross. I was there for a season and a half, which was a record at that club, I think. As a lot of the NSL clubs. And there was no payout for me like Mourinho got from, I think Mourinho got £40 million from Manchester United. So anyway, those were the days and it was great fun.
Yeah, well, your time might not be up at George Cross, actually, Ernie, because I'm actually looking for an assistant to help me with a reserve team back at George Cross. I'm the coach there this year, and I'm in desperate need of a good assistant coach. So if you fancy getting the tracksuit back on and coming up to City Vista, you're more than welcome.
I'll definitely come up and watch a game or two. I'm hoping to spend a bit of time in the FFA Cup, watch some games. I think the Premier, what is it called now? It used to be called the State League. It's called NPL 1. And I I want to spend. I went to my old club who played NPL 3 at Dufton and watched them play. I had a great time, and some of the players did really well. It's just getting the right breaks at the right time, I guess. So you'll see me around, no doubt.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Ernie, thank you so much for joining us. We've got an action-packed show tonight. You're the first guest of 5 guests, so we're going to have to unfortunately let you go. But you're probably thinking, great, now I can get back to my your wine and your barbecue. So thank you once again for joining us, and all the very, very best in your new role as the ambassador for the Football Coaches Australia.
Thanks, boys. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Ernie. All the best.
Thanks, Ernie.
It's all ours.
Enjoy the
Good on
barbecue.
you.
Cheers.
Great character of the game, and he's got some phenomenal experience. Gents, now our next 2 guests are from Western United. We're still waiting for them to pop up in the green room. So what we might do, Craig, you'll jump off and try and get the guys on the line. In the meantime, we may just they've just dropped a movie, a video, or something like that. Or actually, Chris is about to come on, so we'll rush him on. Yep, he's about to come on, and Chris PEHLIVANIS steps into the green room and straight into the hot seat, mate. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show tonight, Chris. Welcome to the Football Out West.
Welcome, guys, and we're on the eve of another season. Exciting, and get to see football again. We've all missed it. We're all crazy for football.
Now it is an exciting time, but mate, I think the last time we had you on the show, you had far less grey hairs than you do now. Has it been a very stressful off season for you? Has it?
Nah, it's actually been a very fruitful off season. We've made a lot of significant changes at the club, and all for the better. And it's amazing the culture and the environment, how much you can shift it in a short period of time, and we've set it all up, and I think we're in a good place. I don't know if it'll result into wins or losses. You can never tell that, but I couldn't be more excited about where the organisation and the club's heading for the start of this season. And we've brought some quality, people in the back rooms, quality staff, quality players. So I think we're showing our intentions of being an aspirational club. I think we've shown the whole community that we're a club that's going to be ambitious.
And Chris, this season, the club's going to be letting children into the ground for free for every home game. Do you want to talk a bit about the decision? Was it an easy decision to make?
Yeah, it was an easy decision because I think, back to Tonci's question before, my hair's gone grey. I think everyone's kind of quite tough in terms of homeschooling, quarantine. The kids haven't been able to get to play football. They haven't been able to get to events. And I think this was our way of giving something back to the community by saying to the kids in the West and all the kids that love football in Victoria, come along to our games for free and make it a place that they want to come and enjoy, and try the A-League and try football and come with your friends and use it. Coaches can use it as educational. They can come there, they can watch the A-League play, and hopefully improves them as players, and they have a good night out. So I think it's important that we give back to the community in that way, and it was an easy decision, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I'm surprised. I'm surprised a lot more clubs don't go down this road because, to give a kid's ticket away is nothing, but then you've got the paying adults coming in that also then you go into your shop, they put money behind the bar. I don't understand why a lot more teams don't do it. I think it's a great incentive because it's, I know I've seen it on a couple of times on social media this year. It's around trying to get 10,000 members. I think that's the goal, isn't it, for the club?
Yeah, so we've got a goal last year. I think we got to about 7.5. So we're trying to get to 10,000 members this year. And you're right, Craig, it is important to give people an opportunity to come to the games and give these kids, and look, our stadiums are massive. So it's not like we don't have the supply. So the more kids that come, the better off, and they're going to be your future generation supporters. Yeah. So I think it's important that they get on board, and you know what, they're going to invest. They're going to buy merchandise. They're going to want to come again. They want to in a couple of years they might want to buy a membership. So I think it's only positive, and hopefully more kids will come to the games, and we see with bigger crowds this year.
Yeah, well, part of that. Sorry, Tonci. Part of that is about the story and building the story, and getting those 10,000 members. And the club have posted a video just 30 minutes ago around being part of the club. And I think Tonci's got it in the background, just a 2-minute video. If you don't mind us playing that.
Yeah, play it. I mean, I can give you a little bit of background on. I'll go for it. We'll talk about it later.
I'm trying to put the sound on time.
Hey, you blokes! Are you serious? You're kidding me. You are kidding me. Sit, all of you. Patel, where do you think you're going?
Game starts in 5.
Sit down and don't interrupt. Coach thinks you've forgotten what you all belong to, where you've come from. And you know what? I agree with Coach. You fellas have lost your heads. I have been club president since the year 2065, but I've worked for this team since I was in high school. That's 50 years. Anybody else been here 50 years? You have no idea of the privilege you were born into when you signed for this club. But it didn't start like that, not even close. Kings of the A-League? Ha! Not how I remember it. 2019, our first season. The team had to play on some Australian football fields while us staff members froze numb training out of City Vista. And then out of nowhere, bam! COVID-19 kicks us in the guts.
Who's COVID-19?
You boys get nervous playing here at Wyndham City Stadium, heaving with 40,000 maniacal fans. Well, try lining up with just a sliver of green and black, pressed by an otherwise sea of blue and white Victory supporters.
Who are the Victory?
Who were the Victory? But just as the West grew, so did this team. New people needed new heroes, and the club stood up. But before anyone knew it, you couldn't step foot this side of the Yarra without seeing a recycled building, hover bike, or one of those thingies, an Astro bus decked out in that unmistakable green. So if you think the 2068 title will just come to you on a platter, then you'd better think again. Your fame was built on the backs of real people, honest people, hard-working people who saw the future, bit their lip, and seized it with both hands. And I should know, because I was there.
Well, there you go. Well, that was a very interesting way to do a season.
We need an
launch.
applause button, I think, Tonci.
I think so. Absolutely. Geez, that was really interesting. Really good. Lots happening behind the scenes, as you mentioned, Chris, and that's probably obviously one of the I guess one of the innovations as well, as far as the marketing is going. But another one is that everyone who does sign up to a particular type of membership also gets the Paramount Plus subscription as well. Is that across the board, or is that just something that Western United have done?
Yeah, that was another initiative of ours for members that sign up on 7+ memberships, so 7 games or more, they get a subscription to Paramount Plus. We think being a supporter is not just coming to the ground. When we play away, we want our supporters to be at home watching the team and supporting them, because that's how you grow meaningful connection. That's how I see some comments there. I think one of the guests, Maxi Centich, said about a real connection to the club and priceless. We want to leave those experiences. It's not just about a transaction and getting them to come to the game. So we don't want to be that. We want to be a club that provides that provides meaningful connections and real value to their members. So that's this is another way of us providing. And no, not all clubs are doing it, but it's important for us to grow the club in that way. So that's why we're doing it.
Brilliant.
And Chris, a few people have been asking me about what's happening around the stadium site. Have we got a bit of an update for the fans and members about that one?
Yeah, look, things are progressing really well. We're just working through some final planning stuff with the local council. But I think as we get into the start, I'm not going to take the limelight on it because there's going to be massive announcements coming up in the lead up to the season. And I think the fans and the members and everyone's going to see it, because we're going to have some live pictures from the site, and we're working through that now to create some, what they call time capsules, where you every month you can follow the progression. But we're working through all that now, and some meaningful work's about to commence. I mean, on-site work's about to commence. We'll have some first pictures for everyone from the site in due course, but we're not too far away. We're hoping in the lead up to round one, there will be some really positive announcements.
Fantastic. Now, the club have recently moved from what was their home for the last few years up at George Cross City Vista to a new base up at the hangar, which is obviously shared with Essendon. What was the reason behind that, Chris? How did that come about, and what was the reason behind it?
We haven't actually left George Cross, so I should probably just.
Sorry, I didn't mean.
So the problem was when we entered in the competition, we were one team. Already we've expanded to we've got 3 teams. So we've got our A-League men's team. We've got a license next year for our A-League's women's team. We've got 2 NPL teams, and we're trying to expand that base as well. So the reason for the move was to make sure we can cater for all those games. So last year, if you recall, we played all our NPL 3 games away from home. That's not good for our players' development. That's not good for our brand, and it's not good for growing the club. So this year we'll be playing home games at Caroline Springs George Cross. So we'll be working there, and we'll be training out of there from our NPL. So it's really important that we build a meaningful base. Our women's team, we have to prepare for that. So May, June next year, we have to start training. We start preparing where we're going to play our games and where we're going to train. So again, we're working with George Cross for potentially training there and growing that presence there. So it was just that the club grew. It's growing. The other thing was our club at the moment, our admin is separated to our football department. We wanted to bring all that together for our culture and to make everyone feel part of the journey. So that's another thing from February. We're going to bring all that together. So that's another big tick by moving to Essendon. So until our facility is built, we thought we're going to probably the most elite facility in Melbourne from a training point of view, being the hangar. And if you speak to any of our players anytime, they're glowing about it. And, it's probably the best move, one of the best moves we've made in the off season in terms of providing our athletes and our staff with the best possible facilities to be successful. But I just want to reiterate too that our partnership with George Cross is stronger than ever. I know in this football world, people try and sometimes find reasons for us not to be. We're going to work even closer with George Cross as we build. They've been not only supportive, they've gone above and beyond for our club, and we'll always respect that. And hopefully, as we build, there'll be more opportunities for us to play there and do, like we even considered to play our FFA Cup game there this week when we take on Newcastle. But just with all the restrictions, it makes it a little bit harder. We wouldn't have had that many fans being able to get there. It just made it all pretty difficult. But they're the kind of things we'll do in the future once we open up again.
Yeah, fantastic. Now we've got a packed show, and we've got the Western United new recruit, young NOAH BOTIC. He's in the green room ready to come on. Chris, we'd love to chat to you more, but maybe early next year when we come back from our little bit of a break, we'd love to have you on the show from mid-February onwards. Wishing you all the very, very best, and really looking forward to watching how Western United develops as a club now in its third year of existence. So all the very best for that.
Thanks again, guys. Thanks for your support. And I just encourage everyone to help us on our journey to 10,000 members and jump on. And more importantly, get your tickets for round one, because it's going to be a big one. And, we've got a limited capacity of 13,000, and we're going to nudge that. Tickets have probably been the strongest they've ever been in terms of on sale. So please jump on quickly and spread that message, because it's important that we get everyone in there and, create a great atmosphere.
I think the 3 of us will come down and have a bit of a night. What do you reckon, guys?
Sounds like a great idea, I think. Yep.
No arguments here.
Perfect.
Thanks for all your good work as well.
All right.
Chris, good luck.
Thanks, Chris. All the best this season.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Chris PEHLIVANIS, the Western United CEO. Gents, we're going to take a quick break. I think we've got young NOAH BOTIC. He's going to be an interesting young guest. He's in the green room ready to wait, ready to come on. But here's a word from our sponsor. We do need to support our sponsors who are supporting us. So don't go away, folks. It's the Football Out West Show, episode number 80.
Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Eyes, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is Members Night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Eyes, Plumpton.
Welcome back to the Football Out West Show, folks. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Now, we've had some great guests so far. We've had ERNIE MERRICK, we've had Chris PEHLIVANIS, and now we're going from the experience to the youth. It's Western United's, well, one of the first recruits in the off-season, a youngster who really made his mark at the 2019 World Youth Championships when he scored 4 goals in 4 games for the Joeys. And he is joining us now. NOAH BOTIC joins us. And there he is. Noah, good evening and welcome to the Football Out West Show. How are you?
Not too bad, guys. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Very good, mate. Very good.
Well.
If you could just move your camera just down a little bit, we can see you. Oh, that's better. That's better.
Is that good?
Much better. Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, Noah, you've joined at Western United. You've been there for a few months now, so it's been a very kind of an interrupted pre-season, obviously with COVID. But now we're back there. The season kicks off in effect this weekend with the FFA Cup game down in Geelong. Your initial thoughts of the setup down at Western United and the squad for this year?
Yeah, we're looking very strong. Obviously coming in a little bit sort of later into pre-season. Always also bringing in a lot of sort of new recruits, foreign recruits as well, who have a lot of experience and stuff. So I reckon we'll be an exciting team to watch, and I can't wait to get the season started.
Mm-hmm. Now, Noah, just quickly a little bit about your time previously at Hoffenheim. What was life like for you in Germany? Were you training and studying at the same time and all that sort of stuff? Did you learn your German fluently and all that sort of stuff? And how was the level, I suppose, of training over there as a youth player?
Yeah, the level was good. So I was with the 19s for the 2 seasons that I was there. The facilities are top, especially for youth. You had sort of like 3 different complexes, obviously with us on the 17s and 19s. Then you have first and 23s, which is reserves, and then you have 16s and younger. So, facilities were amazing. You'd all in one sort of building. You'd have gym set up, change rooms downstairs. You have sort of cafeteria where the boys can eat lunch and stuff like that. And the level was really top. Obviously these boys are, this is why Europe is the sort of place you want to be, really. So,
now, did you have your parents there or family there with you, or were you, living in a dorm with other young players? And how did you find the transition to living in Germany, as a teenager, as a youngster?
Yeah, it was really difficult. Obviously going to a different country, don't know the language and stuff like that. It's very small as well. You'd expect Hoffenheim to be a sort of bigger city because of how big the club is, but it's only got like a couple thousand people. It's very sort of small, very sort of like small town and stuff like that. And now for the 2 seasons that I was there, I went by myself, and obviously it was good for the first season because I was able to see my family sort of 2-3 times like every 2 or 3 sort of months. They'd either come to Germany or I'd be able to come back home. But then in the second season, because it was all cancelled, you know, with Corona and you know, restrictions and stuff, I was unable to come back home. They were unable to go to Germany. So yeah, that was sort of a little bit difficult. But you know, that's sort of football in a way, and you just, you know, sort of kind of got to deal with it.
No, just obviously on your time, you said there that it's, you know, where you want to be in Europe, playing for these top clubs in Europe. What was the reason for coming back into Australian football? You know, as you said there, you're in Germany, you're playing for a big club in Hoffenheim in the junior setup there. What drew you back to coming back to the A-League, apart from obviously family as well?
Yeah, I think, yeah, like you said, just I mean, the main reason is just, you know, family and stuff like that. You know, obviously family is really important to me, and not being able to see them for at least a year was very challenging. But then also sort of just a little bit mentally, because obviously the season got cancelled, and we're, you know, always, you know, we're able to train and stuff like that, having friendly games as well, but then not being able to play season games, which, you know, sort of didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, just mentally it was just, you know, very daunting. It was like it was put on me, like it was a sort of weight on my shoulders that I was just carrying for a while. And you know, I sort of felt, you know, I just feel like coming back home is the best option right now, just to sort of get my confidence back up. You know, play some, you know, regular minutes as much as I can, and then we'll go from there.
Now you've
And
got
Noah,
some.
sorry, I'll just go. What's it like playing under a national team legend striker of John Aloisi? Do you think he can help you individually improve your game as well as your function in the team as a striker?
Yeah, of course. He was unbelievable player when he was, you know, obviously in his prime and throughout his whole career, playing in Europe, national team as well. You know, that's sort of the main reason that I joined Western United, because obviously John being the coach there. So I feel like I still can learn a lot from him. And you know, he can sort of be like a sort of mentor for me. So I can, yeah, I can't wait for that.
Now, speaking of mentors and getting advice from people, now you've got some rather famous cousins who are a little bit older than you. Tommy Juric, who's obviously ex-Socceroo, and Denny Juric, who's at Dinamo Zagreb in Croatia. And they obviously went over there, forged that path, and at a young age, and the family moved to Croatia. And Tommy's now back in Australia, and he's playing at MacArthur FC. Were you able to, you know, tap into their experiences, their knowledge, ask them for advice while you were over there in Europe?
Yeah, of course. Like me and Tommy, we're sort of, you know, on a talking basis. You know, we're always talking to each other, just sort of checking in and stuff. And when I told him maybe we'll, you know, looking to come back to the A-League, he said, yeah. You know, you got to do what you think is right. And you know, he told me go for it. Gave me a bit of advice. Just, you know, just enjoy it. Just work hard. And yeah, same with Danny. He's a little bit more chill, sort of younger, so we don't really talk about football as much. We just sort of muck around a little bit. But yeah, it's a good laugh.
What was some of the best advice that either of them gave you as a young player, you know, in a professional type of environment, whether it was in Germany or whether it's coming back over here?
I think like mainly just now, because obviously I'm progressing into men's football. Tommy just said, yeah, just be yourself. Don't try and change anything about you.
Really interesting.
Yeah, and just sort of just work hard. Just work hard, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, you've had a couple of pre-season games over the last week or so. A couple against Melbourne City. Have you managed to get some minutes on the field and get your legs going?
No, I'm actually in quarantine because I just returned back from Dubai with the Olyroos. So yeah, I was unable to play those games, but I saw the results. I think it was the first game was 1-1, and then the second game was 3-1. So yeah.
Where are you in quarantine to? At home or hotel?
No, hotel in Melbourne. So I just got back recently, just about 2 days ago. From
how long have you got to be in quarantine for?
2 weeks.
Oh, bummer.
Oh no!
Are you kicking a ball against a wall in the
not good.
hotel or something like that, or have the guys organised a treadmill or something for you to keep you going? Or
No, yeah. They've organised to get a bike in, so it just arrived today. It's right next to me, and then like sort of a couple weights and bands and stuff. So yeah, got to get something. Got to keep the fitness up.
Very
Well, we
just
should have done.
quickly.
We
I
should
was
have
going to
done
say
this
just quickly
interview
one
with you on
last.
the-
Oh, do you want to go, mate?
I was going to say we should have done the interview with you on the treadmill. Now that would have been pretty cool.
Oh, that would have been a good dynamic. That could be a new thing for the show next season, maybe.
Yeah.
I can face the camera. I can get on for a little bit if you want.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Steve,
You got one last question for Noah?
Yep.
Just one last one. Noah, how would you describe yourself as what kind of striker you are?
I get asked this quite often as well. So I mean, just a bit of overall, like a bit of everything. I'm good at using my body. I'm like a sort of goal poacher. I've got that sort of goal instinct. Want to like the killer instinct. You want to score and stuff like that. Being in the right positions at the right time. And yeah, I mean, I reckon I got to work on my heading a little bit more, but that sort of comes over time with practice and stuff. But I know John will sort of help me in that area.
No doubt he will.
Absolutely.
Noah, wishing you all the very best, mate. Look, not a pleasant place to be, the quarantine, but wishing you all the best to get through it and clock up some Ks and maybe even a marathon or two on that treadmill. But wishing you all the best for the season ahead.
Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. All the best, Noah. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Take care.
Good on you.
Yes.
Noah Botic, off-season recruit for Western United. Really looking forward. I think he's an exciting kid. I remember watching that World Youth Championships or the World Youth Cup, whatever it was. 4 goals in 4 games, and he would just look at the age of 17. He looked so potent up front. He was the real target man, and just a lot of people at the time were saying very reminiscent of a Mark Viduka style player. Target man, so it'll be interesting to see how the kid goes this year. But really looking forward to that. Craig, let's move along. Who's going to be our next guest? We're going to have a little bit. We'll actually bring that guest straight on. But who is up next?
We've got. I think we've got the legend of the dulcet tones of commentating here in Australia. In Simon Hill joins us. Fresh from an early morning or a late evening stay up, I would imagine, watching his beloved Manchester City demolish the red side of Manchester. How are you, Simon?
Hence why I've got the 1894. In case you don't know what that is, that's
you can't actually see it.
City were formed. You can't see it?
No.
Yeah, you
I can just see the top of it.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
1894. The year City were formed. So, yeah, no, very, very happy with last night's win.
Simon, now, look, last time we spoke to you, we've had you on the show quite a fair bit. So being our last show of the year, thank you so much for once again coming on the show. But, it was probably a little bit, at the time, it was kind of like a little bit unknown what was going to happen. But since then, a lot has happened. You've become, part of the Channel 10 Paramount Plus team. Tell us who else is in that team. Who else can we look forward to seeing on the TV screen this coming A-League season, both for the men and women?
Well, I think you've probably met most of them already through the international games that we've covered. So obviously Andy Harper is alongside me in the commentary box. He won't be the only one. There'll be others as well. Tara Rushton has also come across from Fox. We've got Neve Owens as a host. We've got Georgia Yeoman-Dale. We've got Alex Brosk, Mark Milligan, Bruce Jitte, Archie Thompson. I've probably left a whole heap of people out, to be honest. But that's just a few of them. So they've assembled a team over the last couple of months, and obviously we're getting ready now for the start of the A-League men's season. We have to say that these days because it's the same for the women as well.
Already gotten used to it already. I think last time I spoke to you, Simon, it was with Kevin Hillier on a pre-record for Bay FM 2 international windows ago. We're talking about the Socceroos. Now, obviously coming off a loss against Japan last up where we maybe didn't impress as much as we had previously, how do you see the team being placed leading into these 2 games against Saudi Arabia and China?
Well, I mean, to be honest, the game against Saudi is absolutely crucial now because of the loss in Japan. And Saudi Arabia are a dangerous side. We've seen that they've beaten Japan already in the group. They've got a 100% record. So, you know, for them, they'll be looking at this trip to Sydney and thinking, well, if we can get the 3 points, we're almost over the line. So it's a big game for both teams. There's a couple of selection issues. I'm sure you've seen the squad. There's no Aaron Moy. There's no Tommy Rogic. I think there's a question mark over Martin Boyle as well, because I think he was a close contact of the little COVID outbreak that they had at Hibs in Scotland. You know, that's if he doesn't travel, that's 3 big players gone for Australia. Now, that's not to say they can't deal with that, but yeah, it's going to be a tough game. And the bonus, obviously, for Australia is they're actually back on home soil in front of what we hope is going to be a sellout crowd. I think they've sold 24,000 tickets already for a 30,000 capacity. So it's it's going to be pretty close to being full, which is great. And they're going to need those fans because, as I say, Saudi are a good side. Graham Arnold described them as being a little bit chaotic, but they're dangerous. They've got pace going forward. So a guy called Al Mualad on the right in particular, and Salam Al Dosri is a terrifically talented attacking midfielder. So they've got good weapons, Saudi Arabia, and they can beat Australia if the Socceroos are not on their game. So it's massive, this game. The game against China a little bit less so, because I don't think China will pose quite the same threat. We saw that in the first meeting between the two, and again, it's going to be played in the Middle East, not in China. So it'll be in an empty stadium. I don't think the Socceroos will have too many concerns about that. They're used to playing in the Middle East, but this game on Thursday is massive.
Yes, can't think. Michael Long actually just put up that they're dirty though, and that was one of the questions that actually I was going to bring in. That they are they are a physical side. I wouldn't say they're dirty. I'd say they're a physical side that the Socceroos are going to have to be very mindful of that. But not to be overawed by them. They, like you said, Simon, they're 100%. So they're not a duff side. You think Saudi Arabia, who's Saudi, but they're 100% record. It's going to be a tough game to them. And given the game in Japan, which probably wasn't the Socceroos, well, it wasn't the Socceroos' best game of football that they've ever played. They're going to have to. They have to be on their guard against the Saudis in a game that they can't afford to lose.
No doubt. And, you think back to the game against Japan, and really they were within a couple of minutes of getting a point away from home, which would have been, very, very good results. And all of a sudden it's changed a little bit, but, it wasn't catastrophic, that defeat. It's still, for my money, the toughest away trip in Asia. So, it puts a lot of responsibility on the team on Thursday night. And, the good news, I've talked about some of the players that are going to be missing, but, they're going to get Matthew Leckie back. Jamie McLaren will be back. Adam Taggart's out as well. He's got an injury. They're 2 good players to be able to bring into the squad, but they're a little bit short of match fitness, obviously because they're, with Melbourne City, so they've yet to start their season. So there's a few... there's a few big talking points, but the Saudis are very well coached by the French guy, Hervé Renard, who I think is still the only man in history to win 2 African Cup of Nations with 2 different countries, which he did with Zambia and the Ivory Coast. So, the team are no mugs, and neither's their coach. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out. But, Australia haven't lost a home World Cup qualifier since 2008, and I don't expect them to lose on Thursday.
There you go.
Now turning attention back to the domestic game, Paramount Plus and Channel 10. At the moment, this week we've got a huge amount of FFA Cup games happening as well, and then the season coming up. What are you most looking forward to as a commentator and being part of a new team? What are you most looking forward to the upcoming season, the A-League season?
Well, all of it, really. I mean, obviously, I had a year where although I was still sort of working in football on the periphery, I wasn't involved on a week by week basis, and I missed that. You know, going to football stadiums, being around football people, having those conversations, catching up with people. You know, calling games in front of crowds, which obviously we haven't been able to do for a long time because of COVID anyway. You know, that's as I've said before, that's not just my job. That's who I am. It's part of my DNA. So, you know, to have that, you know, taken away for a year was difficult to deal with because it's all I've ever done in a work sense. And even before that, you know, when I was a kid growing up, going to watch football games every week, and all of a sudden I didn't have that. So it was like losing a limb in many ways. So I'm very much looking forward to being involved on a weekly basis, and you know, just the cut and thrust of league football, and you know, looking forward to, okay, where am I going next week? You know, I already know my fixtures for the first weekend, and yeah, it's exciting to, you know, to see which games I was going to do and being back involved in it. So I'm just looking forward to the whole experience, really, and you know, hopefully we've got a lot of work to do as a broadcaster and as a game to get the league, men and women, you know, back to where it should be. Because we've fallen a long way over the last few years. So there's a lot of work ahead, and there's no silver bullet to success. But we start the journey in a week or two's time, and you know, hopefully the fans will come along with us and you know, have faith in us. We won't get everything right, you know, 100% from week one. But you know, I think people can rest assured when I've talked about some of the names that are going to be involved. And I can assure you that Channel 10 and Paramount Plus are very committed, very keen. So we're going to work as hard as possible to, you know, get this league back to where it should be.
No, it's very interesting. You mentioned there about, you know, the league has gone backwards over the last few years, and I don't know whether you've watched a documentary that's on I think it's on Amazon Prime at the moment, called Fever Pitch, which is about Sky buying or setting up the Premier League as it is now back in 1992, I think, and how that all came about. And you know, the guy that was there was American, and they'd been into American soul, all the dancing girls and the fireworks at games, and we've spoken about that previously. But is this now the start of the new era of football here in Australia?
Well, I hope so. I'm not sure we need dancing girls and bands on the
They look very nice, I have to say, though. Hey?
Yeah, I think unfortunately we probably moved past that era, Craig.
It's dancing girls or Bozza. Which one?
It'd probably be Bozza these days. Yeah, look, I think football fans in this country, you know, that we tried a lot of the gimmicks over the last few years. You know, I remember doing Star Wars rounds and Spanish rounds.
Remember that? Oh, mate.
Yeah, look, I think all that football fans want, I think they want an authentic competition, you know, that's taken seriously. And yes, and I'm going to add to that a second division, because I've said it all along. I think we need that, and ultimately promotion, relegation, just a proper, authentic, you know, football pyramid that people can support on its own terms. We don't need to pretend to be rugby league or Aussie rules or cricket. You know, we're our own sports. The catchphrase a few years ago was "We are football," and we were supposed to be proud of it. Well, we got to live that and market to football fans first and foremost. Forget about the casual customer. They'll come along if the product is right, and you know, we have the right noise inside the stadiums and everything else. So it's about getting back to basics, I think, really. You know, and getting on board the committed football person, because, you know, and we've spoken about this before. We all know lots of football fans who love the game, but they're not particularly committed with the A-League at the moment. So you know, we've got to win those people first, and then worry about the mainstream after that.
And Simon, we are already out of time. It's gone so quickly, but just one more point I wanted to ask quickly.
Sorry, that's because I gibber too much. My apologies.
We're guilty at our end too here. How good was it being back calling a game live in the stadium at those Matildas fixtures against Brazil? And was there any particular funny story from calling games from a TV all those times that you had to do that for quite a while?
Any funny stories? Oh, a few horror stories of feeds going down and teams not being delivered, so you don't know who's on the pitch. Yeah, I mean that's all part of it. I remember the game I did. One of the first games I did remotely was the K-League game between John Book and I think it was Ulsan, and I called that from my front room. And I said to them before, are the graphics all going to be in English? Because it was a K-League production. And they said, oh, yeah. And of course they weren't. They were all in Korean. So, and unfortunately, I don't speak Korean. So, yeah, so that it had its challenges. But, obviously it's a different way of working. And I think in the modern era, unfortunately, we're probably going to, do it an awful lot more because it's tragically much more cost effective than, sending us on aeroplanes around the country and around the world to call games. It's not ideal. I prefer to be in the stadium because you get the bigger picture, and obviously you have those relationships with people. But it's just pure economics. Unfortunately, that's the way of things.
Now, before we let you go, Simon, we've got this blast from the past that we've managed to dig up that involves you and Steve, and that's way back in. Steve, where was that? Tell us a bit more about that photo.
Oh, I don't know how you found that one, Tonci. It looks like something in Durban in 2010, perhaps, though. And looks like it might have been a big night, but I think every night was a big night over there at that time.
I can't even see it.
Definitely told me it was a big night.
Two very young blokes there, and Steve carrying what appears to be, I don't know, bourbon and Coke or something like that in a can.
It was a can of Black Label, from what I remember, was what the beer was called in South Africa. Yeah.
There you go. You go.
Was that at the fan site, Steve? Was that at the fan site in Durban?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, happy memories.
There you go. Happy memories. Well, from the past to the future, mate, we're wishing you all the very best for the season ahead. Really looking forward to it. And from all accounts, Channel 10 so far have done a brilliant job. Let's hope this year is going to be a watershed year for the A-League going forward. So we look forward to hearing your dulcet tones again at the microphone. So wishing you all the best for the season ahead.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for having me on. Cheers.
No problem. Thanks, Simon.
Thanks, Simon.
Absolute pleasure. Simon Hill. He is, as someone did say, Michael Long or someone, he is the Martin Tyler of Australian football. Yeah, absolutely fantastic to have him back on the airwaves. Gents, what a show it has been. For those, if you've just come out of under a rock and you've just tuned in, we have been speaking to Ernie Merrick, the legendary Ernie Merrick, who's now the ambassador for the Football Coaches Australia. We spoke to Western United CEO Chris PEHLIVANIS, Western United new recruit NOAH BOTIC, and then with Simon Hill from Channel 10 and Paramount Plus. Now, we have still got one guest to go. Oh, you could say we've left the best for last, and it is the president of the George Cross Football Club. That is Mark Sultana. He'll be joining us very, very shortly. In the meantime, please stick around. We've got some important messages from some of our guests. Don't go away, folks.
Sport requires effort, sweat and strong will, and Macron knows it. A leading global company with Italian DNA in the production and sale of sportswear, when Macron first entered the sports world in 1971, it was a small yet strong player. Since then, Macron has been growing at a very fast pace, supporting teams, sportsmen and women at all levels, working hard to supply them with the best technical products to help improve their performances. With over 4 million pieces of stock available in our Italian warehouse and an extensive range of on-field, off-field and free-time products, we cater for everyone from amateurs to professional sporting organisations, even referees. Ranked third most prominent football brand by the UEFA, Macron keeps expanding its presence worldwide, including Australia, where we are currently proud partners of Perth Glory, Macarthur FC, Port Adelaide and Parramatta Eels, and more to come. Work hard, play harder, Macron, your next teamwear partner. For more information, visit our website at www.macronvic.com.au or call us on 1800-MACRON.
Looking for a venue for your next event? Our function room at George's on Vista is the perfect place for your next special celebration. That special birthday or anniversary, A baptism, communion, or confirmation? Whatever the celebration, we can provide a fun and enjoyable atmosphere with great food. Why not hold your next corporate event in our function room? We can seat up to 100 people and can provide you with a professional environment. Whether you're looking to hold a stand-up or sit-down event, we can cater to your needs. We have meal plans and platters for you to choose from. For more information, send an email to info@georgesonvista.com.au. There's no better place out west to hold your next function than at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It's episode 80, and we're not far from drawing the curtains on year 3. Mate, it's been a great journey, Craig. This has been phenomenal. It's gone 3 years, and next year, our 4th year, when we hope to air the 100th episode sometime in 2022, is going to be a massive year. But we've had some great guests this year. Well, we asked Steve earlier what was some of his memorable moments of the year gone by. What was some of your memorable moments or memorable guests of the year gone by?
As I said earlier on, so it's been that long a show, Tonci. You've actually forgotten that the question was asked to me earlier on, but I'll say it again to you. I think we've had lots of good guests. You know, from John Aloisi. We've had obviously the Western United guys. We've had Damien Rodin from the UK. We've had just so many good guests coming on from around the world. You know, we said, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. We started off 3 years ago as a three show program. That's what we were going to do, and here we are on 80 shows and getting stronger. We said it was going to be a show for the West, and we've tried to keep that. But of course, as things get bigger and you become better, you know, the guests become bigger and the show becomes better. So, you know, we've updated all the graphics and we've done all the stuff behind the scenes this year to make it a lot more professional. And, you know, hopefully next year we can come back again and be bigger and better.
Well, you did say at the top of the show, we would not be able to do this show if it wasn't for our valued sponsors, and he represents one of those valued sponsors, our major sponsor for the year. Absolute warm welcome to the president of the Caroline Springs, George Cross, and a regular visitor on our show, Mark Sultana. Mark, you're looking very, very smiley, very happy. Good to see you again, mate. Things are finally looking up on and off the field, as they say, aren't they?
Yep, they are. How are you? All good?
Very well. Nice jacket.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, lovely jacket. Yes,
new logo.
Got the new logo. Yeah, it's a great change and a great willingness to really get our brand out there. So it's I can't believe it's 3 years and the 80th show, and the sponsorship's been a great relationship, and I'm sure it'll continue on, and we'll be a voice for all our soccer people out there in the West and furthermore. So, no, it's very enjoyable.
Well, it might be our last show tonight, but we're certainly looking forward to next year. We're already starting the planning behind the scenes. But, Mark, as far as, you know, lockdown has finished and what you're not, things are slowly coming back to normal. Obviously, as far as the club is concerned, you know, it's full steam ahead now for season 2022. As we said, on and off the field. Tell us some of the exciting things that are happening at George Cross Football Club.
All juniors, Mini Roos actually had about 15 games today in-house, which was really good. Trials, I don't like trials, but anyway, trials are happening, and obviously this is again a difficult period for John, the new TD, Lisa, myself, and obviously the coaches that are all working through appointing players and so forth. And that's really exciting. The seniors are coming together on Wednesday night, which is really good. So that's really positive. We've been managed to really recruit a really young reserve squad this year, and we'll be talking about some number of announcements that will be happening in that space as well, which is going to be really exciting. And most of all, it's going to be our 75th year as a club. So we've got some really big announcements around that, and it's, you know, a really, really strong strong feeling about looking forward to how we celebrate this 75th year at George Cross, and really reaching out to all the past and present and all the fans out there to join us and really have a strong party atmosphere at all our games, because it's been long enough now, and I think it's really important that we really join together and really party hard.
Now, Mark, how are you getting on personally? And you're looking to take a little bit of a break at all any time during the off season, or are you urging your committee to have a break and come back recharge for 2022 perhaps, or we're just going to be pushing on through as we know how?
No breaks at this point of time. The great news is that I am able to go to Adelaide to see my wife since February on the 23rd of November, which is an unbelievable thing. So I'm sure I'll venture to...
on the 24th, is it?
Well, yes, probably on the 25th maybe, but I'm sure we can manage without me for a couple of days. We've got a great team behind us all. So, but yeah, look, it's all strong. Look, again, look, across everything, the government's doing great. I mean, you hear all the news about keeping hospitality staff and chefs and things like that. I mean, God willing, everything's been great for us, and we've been able to keep this club alive through COVID, which is remarkable, really. I mean, obviously everyone knows that we actually have the facility under our full management since the 1st of July, and obviously, people were worried about the news from Western United, but Chris and Lisa and myself and Mel and a lot of people involved there have really been trying to formulate how that relationship can actually get stronger and not weaker. And I think, it's been a great decision on behalf of both clubs to really, promote the NPL 3 games with both Victory, City, Western United, Preston. I was hoping to be in NPL 3. We would have rivaled. That would have been Western United and George Cross. You know what I mean? So, but again, look, we're strong and we'll stay strong. We've appointed a lot of good people at the club again. A massive heartfelt respect for Lisa and Eric and John and George Giro, who obviously moved on. But look, and there's difficulties around, these trial periods, and I do get a little bit of the mark with the Maltese side of things and that, so we're dealing with those kind of things, and that, they're the reality of it as well. You can't shy away from those issues as a president or as a club. So all I can say is, mark my words, I'm trying to get myself across a lot of these issues at the moment to try and resolve them in the best way we possibly can. So it's certainly not a disrespect to the Maltese community, let me tell you. I mean, there was the announcement that Ryan was leaving the club as well, and there was comments about it's the last Maltese player at George Cross. But look, and as sad as that may sound, it's certainly nothing. It's certainly nothing that we are pushing for that to be the language. But I've got to say to you, again, we're very much across it and very much trying to understand how we can make it work for all of our Maltese communities that really join our club. So.
Now, one of the things that obviously from a club's point of view is City Vista, the bistro and the bar area. And, one of the things that was postponed back earlier in the year was the Last Man Standing, which got postponed about 3 times. I think 3 separate dates got mentioned. And that's now back on for the end of this month on the 27th. So will you be back in attendance for that?
Yes, I will be, mate. I've got to tell you, it's really about having parties at the moment. I've seriously want to enjoy the club for what it was. I think we're very good at hosting parties as a Maltese community. I can let you, we all love dancing and having a good time. So that's a really good thing about bringing all the club together. We've obviously got a number of functions that are happening at our club. Our big Christmas party is going to be back on too, which is great. Western United always provide their inflatables and things like that. So we do make it a really party atmosphere as well. And look, again, it's been 2 years, and the fact that we've opened up, and again, I know there's going to be some issues in relation to around vaccinations and non-vaccinations, but at the end of the day, we'll work through that as well. But we just want to all get together and just give each other, me, I love to hug people. So, just about giving each other a good hug and welcoming everybody back. I said, there's going to be many issues that we're going to have to deal with. But I think we've got a strong enough leadership group with amongst all parts of our football departments, and not only that, but the bar and the bistro and the sports club, and also just through the general management of that wonderful club. I think is there's a lot of support around, and we all appreciate that, and I definitely appreciate it and respect it immensely. I mean, 3 years I was asked to take over this club, and my God, we've had COVID, pandemics, we've had to be here today talking about George Cross is an honour, and we're custodians of this wonderful club, and again, I hope and willingly to see this club get back to where it needs to be. And look, we haven't stopped fighting for that understanding in relation to from State 1 to MPL 3, and there'll be a bit around that as well. But that's probably not the night to go on about that. It's about to celebrate our relationship with football out west, and our relationship with all the fans that I've come to meet and listen and read whilst we've been hosting this show. So again, a huge appreciated love for all of you. Thank you.
Mate, certainly in answer to Steve's question, there is no chance that you're going to have a quiet off-season after all of that. Mark, once again, on behalf of all of us here and all of our supporters and all of our fans, a massive thank you to yourself and to George Cross Football Club for your support this year. We really do look forward to next year. I guess one thing I would like to ask you, that it has been put a little bit on the back burner, and Simon Hill earlier tonight did mention about the National Second Division. Has there been any movement with regards to that, the National Second Division, or now that things look like being normalised, is the next step in view? Is it in sight?
Oh, look, I think that again, the formulation of the actual how the season will be executed is still being worked on. Look, it's a very interesting space. I mean, it has to happen. How it happens is another massive question for all of us. But again, we just need to support each other. Look, I think if anything that I've learnt through obviously trying to negotiate with Football Victoria in regards to the decisions that they made is that probably how disunited we all are publicly. I think we've really got to understand what the United Football Group was able to do, and really understand that we do need to create a voice, and not in angst or anything like that either. There's going to be, people are going to say if we do go illegal that there'll be issues and around that, and how, why would you say that, Mark? But look, again, sometimes when you're forced into a corner because you don't get to be heard is, again, a detriment to what's about to happen, really. But again, we've all just got to be really united and really support the process that happens with NSD. I think not everyone's going to be happy. The formulation of the actual funding of it's going to be very interesting. We certainly have to back it around TV rights and so forth. Simon Hill coming on board with Paramount, I think, is a great asset for us to be able to really engage with somebody that understands who we all are and what parts of football have failed. So I think that's a really great relationship that this program has been able to formulate, not only for myself, but for all of our football fans. Again, I think we just need to settle down as a code. I think we need to send the right messages. I think we haven't done a great job of that at late, but, we've got to understand that we've got to start somewhere, and hopefully we can all land together. I mean, when you think about the decision that was made, not only the impact of the football club, but the impact of the sponsors. I mean, and the fans and the families and the kids and just general life in a football club. Don't worry about all the execution of all the bars and the bistros and the games and appointing coaches and all that kind of thing. But you're nothing without your supporters. You're nothing without your sponsors, and you're certainly nothing without support. So I think Football Victoria missed a real good opportunity to sort of really band together in that part. But if people like myself and people like Zach and David and Lou and Peter, if we can formulate a relationship to sort of give ourselves a real strong voice about what's good for all of the code and not just good for our personal club. So I think there's a lot that we've learnt. And again, we've opened up. It's time we gave our sponsors, again, a real good big thank you. And that, again, our fans and our children, everyone's 2 years older, and I don't think you can add up a full season yet with the amount of football we've lost in 2 years. So, again, shows like this, I don't know what I'll be doing on a Sunday night these days. I'll probably be at the club trying to formulate our next plan to execute, and hopefully it's the right decisions for everyone. But again, like I keep saying, you got a huge thanks to Lisa, and again, it's she doesn't stop. Neither does the board. Very strong in deciding how strong we want our women's program. There's so much going on; it's ridiculous. Honestly, I spent my Sunday today dealing with some issues that are very challenging again around our community. So you feel the highs and you certainly feel the lows, but you sort of got to land in the middle. So
absolutely.
It's important we surround ourselves with really good, positive people. And I think this is what this show does for so many of us. It's always positive. We always give a broad look at so many parts of football. And it's, three gentlemen get together and have a chat to the football world. So, again, don't underestimate what you do for this game and what you do for all of us, guys. It's extremely important.
On that, Craig, did you want to say any last words?
No, I'd just like to say, I said, thank Mark for his time. He was one of the first guests we had a long time ago, 3 years ago, when we were down with FNR in the studio there. And big thanks to FNR who supported us, certainly in the early days. And it's gone from strength to strength. And like I said, I've kept saying, if it wasn't for the club, yourself, Lisa, we wouldn't be able to do the show. So, I suppose on behalf of everybody that listens, Mark, and we've had some massive listenerships over the last couple of weeks. A big thank you and George for supporting us.
Look, you sit back and you tell your kids and everyone that wants to join your football club that you need to take a leap of faith and believe in what we do. Well, you guys came and visited me at City Vista. I'll never forget that at the sports bar, and we sat down and said, how can we make this work? And again, from that day on, it hasn't stopped. Again, I used to say I'm not really the right person to be the president, but I'm certainly learning that I'm probably the best fit at the moment to really understand what the hell is going on, because it's been a very wild roller coaster 3 years. Let me tell you, it's certainly book writing material.
And as you say, there's the highs and the lows, and you sort of got to land somewhere in the middle. And I'm sure that will continue. But we are all looking forward to it, excitedly looking forward to a big 2022, and hoping that the whole season will be done in its entirety. Mark, on that note, thank you so much, and wishing you all the very, very best.
Absolute pleasure, and thank you for everyone to listen. It's been a lovely time. We'll see you all bright and early next season. So come to Georgie's, and I'd love to have dinner with you all. So
and a big hug from you as well. I'm looking forward to that. Mark Sultana, the president of the Caroline Springs George Cross Football Club, a gentleman and a scholar, as they say, an absolute legend of a man. And to all of our everyone who's been watching, to everyone that's been involved in the show, either the loud minority, the ones that are on the comments, but also the silent majority who are at home tuning in, listening to. And Craig, you were telling me the other day you spin out sometimes when you get stopped by someone who says, "Yep, I'm a regular listener or regular viewer of the Football Out West show." It's just an amazing feeling for me personally. I don't know about you guys, that we do inject so much positivity on a weekly basis, talking about football, the game we love.
Yeah, we do, Tonci. And I think, just going back to Mark there, I suppose I've seen it firsthand over the last month or so, obviously being involved in the club now, just how hard he works. He's there every day of the week. Obviously, his family is in Adelaide, so he's at the club. The stresses of his own business and trying to run a football club is immense, as we all know. But he does a fantastic job up there. And, like you said, for someone who's shouldn't be a president of a football club, he does a bloody great job. So, but yeah, look, just as you just said, then people that stop you, they've sort of recognised now that we're on the show and we've done it. I've had a few people over the last couple of weeks, months, just saying, "Sid, that's a great show. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great to see that there's a voice for people." The one thing that we really like to have is I suppose more interaction with our listeners on the phones and those phone-ins. But look, gradually that'll come as Michael Om comes out of his shy retiring type, and I'm sure he'll be more vocal next year. But it's been great 3 years. This season in particular has been fantastic, although it's been very, very hard for us all. But I think now we're all ready for a bit of a break, reset, and then hopefully coming back bigger and stronger in the new year.
Yeah. Now, Steve, thank you very much personally for coming on board as well. And towards the latter part of the season, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. And
thanks for having us, guys, and thanks so much for everyone in the comments, and as you say, everyone at home who's outside the comment space as well. We really do appreciate it. So many nice comments coming in tonight, and
absolutely,
I think to thank Kate for putting up with me going off and doing this show every Sunday night. I might promise to take her to Georgie's for a nice meal. Looks like Clint might want to join us as well by what he's putting in the comments too. So
we'll definitely do that, Steve, and we'll all get together up at Georgie's one night and
I think he's your number one fan. Clint Newton is Steve.
Yeah, there's a few hype men. Brenton might have some claims as being the number one hype man still, but Clint's been pretty good in the comments tonight.
Now, apart from all of our guests as well, a big thank you to all of our guests, too numerous to mention. Just a couple of words about our sponsors over the years. Obviously, Caroline Springs George Cross, our major season sponsor. We've also had some great support from Principal Signs, Sunbury Indoor Sports, Paul de Blasi, CMF Soccer Coaching. We've also had Guzman Finance, Andreas Guzman, Hands for Hire as well. So to every one of those, thank you so much. And to anyone who has been a member either sporadically throughout the years. Macron, how can I forget Macron and Giacomo Carulli came on towards the latter part of the season as well. To all of our sponsors, especially to Vladimir Zetovic, who has remained a member all year. Members have come, members have gone, but he's remained all year. So thank you very much to them. Gents, we will catch up, no doubt, surely in the next few weeks to start planning for next year. But until then, I thank you to absolutely everyone. And cheerio until middle of February next year.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for your support.
Good night.